Los Angeles, California, March 1972. Saturday morning, 10:15 a.m. Bruce Lee pulls his car into a parking spot on Hill Street, right in front of Wong's Grocery, a modest family-run store nestled in the heart of Chinatown. The streets are alive with weekend energy. Elderly women haggling over produce, children darting between shops, the smell of roasted duck and incense mixing in the cool morning air. Bruce is here for one reason. Brandon needs cereal milk. His son finished the last of it at breakfast, and Linda sent him out with a simple mission. Get milk, come back. Easy. 10-minute errand. He's dressed casually. Dark jeans, a simple gray t-shirt, a brown leather jacket. In Chinatown, people know who he is. The Green Hornet guy, the martial arts instructor who's starting to make waves in Hong Kong cinema. But here, they give him space. He's local, one of them. Nobody bothers him for autographs or photos. Just respectful nods and quiet recognition. Wong's Grocery is a small operation. 2 narrow aisles packed with canned goods, dried noodles, imported snacks, and a small refrigerated section in the back. The floor is worn linoleum, squeaking under footsteps. A single register sits near the front, operated by Mrs. Wong, a 68-year-old grandmother who's run this place with her late husband for 3 decades. Now she runs it alone. Bruce pushes through the door. A small bell chimes. Mrs. Wong looks up from behind the counter, sees him, and offers a warm smile. She says something in Cantonese, a greeting, asking about his family. Bruce responds in kind, his Cantonese fluent and respectful. He heads toward the back, weaving past a couple examining soy sauce brands. At the register, Mrs. Wong is helping a customer, an older gentleman buying cigarettes and a newspaper. She rings him up slowly, her arthritic fingers struggling with the old mechanical register. The cash drawer is open, bills visible, maybe $250. Not much, but it's Saturday morning, the weekend earnings, everything to her. Bruce reaches the refrigerated section, scans the shelves, whole milk, Brandon's preference. He grabs a half-gallon, checks the date, and turns to head back to the register. That's when he hears it. The door doesn't chime this time. It slams, hard, violent, the sound of wood hitting wall, glass rattling in its frame. Not the gentle entry of a customer. This is aggressive, wrong. Bruce's body reacts before his mind catches up. Years of training have fine-tuned his awareness. He knows the difference between normal sounds and threat sounds. This is a threat. He turns toward the front, still holding the milk. Through the narrow aisle, he sees a figure burst through the entrance. A man, mid-20s, gaunt face, unwashed hair, wearing a stained gray hoodie pulled up over his head. His movements are jerky, agitated, hands shoved deep in his pockets. He's moving too fast, too deliberately toward the counter. Bruce's instincts fire immediately. This isn't a customer. This is danger. The man reaches Mrs. Wong in 3 quick strides. His right hand jerks out of his pocket, and suddenly there's metal. A knife. Not a folding pocket knife, but a fixed-blade hunting knife with a 6-inch serrated edge. Serious. Deadly. He thrusts it toward Mrs. Wong, his voice cracking with desperation and artificial aggression. Open the register. Give me all the money. Now. The older customer stumbles backward, knocking into a shelf. Canned goods rattle. Mrs. Wong's face drains of color. Her hands fly up instinctively, trembling. She stammers something in Cantonese. Confusion, fear. She doesn't fully understand the English, but the knife is universal language. The robber yells louder, overcompensating for his own terror. The money. Open it. Do it now or I swear. Bruce sets the milk down silently on a nearby shelf. His mind is already calculating. Distance approximately 18 feet. Obstacles 1 aisle, minimal. The robber's position facing Mrs. Wong, back exposed. Weapon knife, right hand extended toward victim. Other civilians, 2 customers near the front, 1 near the middle. Variables assessed, plan forming. He starts moving, not running. Running creates noise, draws attention. He moves quickly, but with total control. Each step deliberate and silent. The worn linoleum doesn't squeak under his careful footwork. The robber is completely focused on Mrs. Wong and the register. Tunnel vision. Amateur. He's too scared to maintain situational awareness. Doesn't hear Bruce approaching. Doesn't sense the shift in the room's energy. Bruce closes the distance. 15 feet. 12 feet. 10 feet. Still undetected. Mrs. Wong fumbles with the register, her shaking hands hitting wrong keys. The drawer won't open. She's panicking, which makes it worse. The robber interprets this as resistance. Stop stalling. He lunges closer, raising the knife higher, pointing it directly at her face. Open it or I'll. Bruce is now directly behind him, 3 feet away. Close enough. The robber never finishes his threat. Bruce's right hand shoots forward with surgical precision. He grabs the robber's right wrist, the one holding the knife from behind. His grip is iron, thumb pressing into the pressure point on the inside of the wrist, fingers wrapping around the outside. In the same motion he twists, sharp, controlled, leveraging the wrist joint at an angle it's not designed to bend. The robber's nervous system overrides his conscious control. The pain is immediate and overwhelming. His hand opens involuntarily. The knife falls, clattering loudly on the linoleum floor. The sound echoes in the suddenly silent store. 1 second. From initial contact to disarmament. 1 second. The robber starts to react, his body beginning to turn, his left hand coming up to defend or attack. But he's already lost. He's operating on fear and instinct. Bruce is operating on decades of refined technique. Bruce's left hand comes up in a controlled palm strike. Not a wild punch, a precise, measured strike targeting the solar plexus, the soft space just below the sternum where the diaphragm sits. His palm makes contact with perfect placement and controlled force. The effect is immediate. The robber's diaphragm spasms violently. All the air in his lungs expels in one sharp gasp. His body forgets how to inhale. He can't breathe, can't draw air. His mouth opens and closes uselessly, like a fish out of water. His hands abandon any thought of fighting back and clutch desperately at his stomach. 2 seconds. From disarm to incapacitation. 2 seconds total. Bruce doesn't pause. His right leg sweeps behind the robber's legs. A basic but devastatingly effective technique. The robber's balance is already compromised. Can't breathe, can't focus, can't resist. The sweep takes him down effortlessly. He lands flat on his back, the impact knocking out what little air had started to return to his lungs. Bruce follows him down, dropping one knee onto the robber's chest. Not his full weight, just enough pressure to pin, to control, to make it clear that resistance is futile. The robber is completely helpless. Still gasping, making small, desperate sounds, his face pale and sweaty. 3 seconds. From initial contact to total control. 3 seconds. Bruce looks up calmly. A teenage boy is standing frozen near the door, eyes wide. Bruce's voice is steady, matter of fact. Call the police. Tell them there's been an attempted armed robbery at Wong's grocery. Suspect is detained. The teenager nods frantically and runs to the phone behind the counter, nearly tripping over the knife on the floor. Bruce glances at Mrs. Wong, switches to Cantonese, asks if she's hurt. She shakes her head, still trembling but physically unharmed. He tells her to sit down, take deep breaths. She'll be okay. 4 seconds. From threat to resolution. 4 seconds total. Bruce stays there, knee maintaining gentle but firm pressure on the robber's chest. Waiting. The robber has stopped struggling. His breath is slowly, painfully returning. His eyes show pure terror now. No longer the desperate terror of committing a crime, but the existential terror of realizing how catastrophically he miscalculated. The other customers slowly emerge from their frozen states. An elderly woman helps Mrs. Wong to a chair near the register. A middle-aged man picks up the knife carefully, sets it on the counter away from everyone. People start whispering, processing what they just witnessed. Did you see how fast? He didn't even have a chance. That was Bruce Lee. 4 seconds, maybe less. The police arrive 8 minutes later. 2 patrol officers, hands on their holsters, entering cautiously, expecting potential violence. Instead, they find a calm scene. Bruce Lee kneeling professionally on a prone suspect, an elderly shopkeeper being comforted, and several witnesses talking excitedly. The senior officer recognizes Bruce immediately. Mr. Lee? Bruce nods. This man attempted an armed robbery. He had a knife. It's on the counter. I disarmed and detained him. He's not injured, just winded. No resistance now. The officers move in, one handcuffing the robber while the other secures the knife. They pull the suspect to his feet. He's still pale, still shaken, head down, defeated. How long did this take? The officer asks Bruce, while his partner reads the suspect his rights. Bruce considers. Maybe 4 seconds to neutralize the threat. Then I waited for you. The officer looks at the suspect, then back at Bruce. A slight shake of his head. 4 seconds. Give or take, Bruce confirms. You probably saved her life. the officer says, gesturing to Mrs. Wong. Bruce's expression doesn't change. Maybe. Or maybe he would have just taken the money and run. We'll never know. What matters is she's safe. They take statements. Bruce describes exactly what happened. Clinical, precise, no embellishment. Mrs. Wong confirms through a translator. The other witnesses corroborate, though several admit they couldn't follow the actual movements. Too fast, one says. I blinked and it was over. The police take photos, bag the knife as evidence, and escort the robber out to their patrol car. As they pass Bruce, the robber doesn't make eye contact, just stares at the ground. After the police leave, Mrs. Wong insists the store stay open. Can't let criminals win, she says in Cantonese. Bruce helps her, steadies her hand, offers to call her son. She refuses. She's fine, just shaken. Bruce retrieves his milk from where he set it down, heads to the register. Mrs. Wong waves her hand. No charge. You saved my life. Bruce insists on paying. They go back and forth, her refusing, him insisting. They compromise. He pays, but she throws in a bag of fortune cookies like always. Bruce accepts with a respectful bow. He drives home. The whole errand took 35 minutes. Linda meets him at the door, notices his expression. What took so long? Bruce explains. Linda's face goes pale. He had a knife. Bruce, you could have been hurt. You have a family. You have Brandon. Bruce sets the milk down gently. He never had a chance to use it. I controlled the weapon immediately. That's the principle. Neutralize the threat at the source. Still, Linda says, you can't take those risks. Bruce's voice is gentle but firm. I didn't take a risk. I assessed a situation and acted on training. That's what training is for. Not movie stunts, but real moments like this. By evening, the story has spread through Chinatown. By the next day, it's in local newspapers, small articles, back pages. But the real story spreads differently, person to person, family to family, shop to shop. Each retelling adds details, some true, most embellished. One version says there were 3 robbers. Another claims Bruce caught the knife mid-air. Another insists he broke the man's arm. None true, but legends don't require accuracy. They require meaning. And this story means something to the community. One of their own, someone who made it, came back to protect them. Mrs. Wong tells the story for the rest of her life. She runs that store for another 15 years, and every new customer eventually hears it. She always emphasizes the same details: how fast he moved, how calm he stayed, how he insisted on paying for his milk, how he treated her with dignity, like family. The robber serves 18 months of a 3-year sentence. Years later, a documentary filmmaker tracks him down, asks about that day. He's clean now, working construction, trying to rebuild his life. Worst moment of my life, he says. And I don't mean getting caught. I mean realizing how badly I misread everything. I thought it'd be easy, old lady. Small store, in and out. I didn't even see him until I was on the ground. 1 second I had the knife. Next second I couldn't breathe and someone's knee was on my chest. Then I found out it was Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee. I was probably the unluckiest criminal in California that day. The story becomes teaching material in martial arts schools worldwide. Instructors reference it. Remember the grocery store. 4 seconds. That's all the time you get. No do-overs. Just training and instinct. Bruce never publicizes it. When reporters ask in later interviews, he downplays it. Anyone with proper training would have done the same. I just happened to be there. His agent wants to capitalize on the hero angle. Bruce refuses. It wasn't heroism. It was necessity. But privately, with his students, Bruce uses it as a teaching moment. This is why we drill until techniques become instinct. Because when real violence happens, you don't have time to think. You only have time to act. 4 seconds is an eternity and an instant. Long enough to save a life or lose one. 50 years later, people in Chinatown still tell the story. Most details have mutated. Store names change. Years get confused. The knife becomes a gun in some versions. But the core remains constant. Bruce Lee protected his community, used his skills selflessly, stayed humble afterward. That's the real legend. Not the 4 seconds of physical action, but the lifetime of character that made those 4 seconds matter. The incident raises a question worth considering. Who are you in a crisis? Do you freeze, flee, or act? And if you act, do you have skills you can trust? 4 seconds doesn't sound like much, but 4 seconds is the difference between tragedy and safety. 4 seconds of decisive action requires years, decades of preparation. Bruce didn't plan to stop a robbery that Saturday morning. He planned to buy milk for his son. But when the moment arrived, he was ready, because he trained like every moment mattered, because he understood that martial arts aren't about tournaments or demonstrations or movie scenes. They're about the grandmother behind the register, the 4 seconds that save her life, and the quiet ride home after, with milk in hand, knowing you were exactly where you needed to be, doing exactly what you trained to do. No cameras, no applause, no glory, just necessity, action, and a gallon of milk for Brandon.